everybody. Welcome back to the Dre Area Sports Show. I'm joined by former Cron 4 associate Drew Foerder. What's going on, Drew?
How you doing, man? Today's a great day. It should be a national holiday.
It should be a national holiday. An opening day. I'm off today. I'm going to be watching the game. My wife's trying to get me to clean out the garage. So I got to dodge that bullet until the game starts. And the kids get locked in, and we're good to go. But, man, the Giants did something that they hadn't done in a while. They signed a bunch of free agents, and they signed a big name free agent right before the start of the season, which is Blake Snell, which is a huge acquisition for the Giants. Now, granted, it's probably only going to be for 1 year. I'm pretty sure he'll opt out at the end of this year. The only way he won't opt out is if he has like season-ending like Tommy John surgery. Then it's okay. Exactly. Then that gives him insurance to have a contract for next year. But real quick, Drew, what was your reaction to the signing of Blake Snell?
I was kind of in shock, dude. Like, I didn't think they were actually going to pull the trigger on him because, honestly, I was even surprised that they signed Matt Chapman. That was big. I was. I did not think that Farhan was going to take that plunge and go in on the Boris 4 that we talked about.
Yeah. Before
Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman, Blake Snell, and who was the fourth one? I can't even remember what his name was, but somebody Cody Bellinger.
Bellinger.
So I just with the recent history of Farhan Zaidi, with the way the Giants have been kind of conservative. They signed Jung-Hoo Lee. Okay, great. I like Jung-Hoo Lee more than anybody. I spent time in Korea actually back in the day. So, I love him. I think he's gonna be great.
Your children are half Korean.
My children are half Korean. Annyeonghaseyo, Mr. Lee, grandson of the wind.
What kind of? That's a hell of a name, grandson of the wind. Anybody wants that kind of name, but
yeah.
Look,
I
agree.
I was surprised.
I was really surprised too. And when we look at the statistics for Blake Snell, his numbers speak for itself. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. So, you look at his numbers. He's 14-9. It hit a 2.25 ERA. He was number one in the league with that ERA of 2.25. Had 234 strikeouts. He was tied for third. So already, this guy is an innings eater. He's a machine. 14-9 on. It's funny because he was on a loaded Padres team that couldn't figure it out. That completely tanked their own season, which is pretty crazy because they had Manny Machado, they had Juan Soto. They had what's his face, the shortstop now turned into an outfielder, Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah,
but he got busted with like PEDs or something, and he was out
for like 50 games.
Yeah, it's just fucking idiot.
Well, he is a real idiot, Fernando Tatis. I have confirmation that he's an absolute idiot.
Yeah, he's a moron.
But the guy can play, dude.
But if you look at his numbers, even last year, he only had 24. Or year before that, I should say, he had 24 starts. Still ended up with an 8-10 record, but had a 3.38 ERA. His worst season was his first season with the Padres when he had a 4.20 ERA, but still managed to get 170 strikeouts. His best season probably was in 2018 when he was 21-5. Jesus.
Oh yeah,
dude, 21 strikeouts. This guy's really good.
And the one thing, I don't know if you remember this, Dre, but I go back to I think it was Game 6 of the World Series in 2020 when the Rays were against the Dodgers, and remember the infamous Kevin Cash pulled him too early.
Yeah,
we got to go to the bullpen. Oh, like the guy was rolling, dude. And then they bring in the bullpen, but Blake Snell, the one thing I will say about him that might be a little bit of a concern to Giants fans. He's a slow starter traditionally, meaning that he doesn't really get going until the second half of the season. And on top of that, they picked him up so late in spring training that we don't really know. They don't even have him listed. He's not listed this weekend in this 4-game series to pitch.
He's not. So supposedly he's scheduled to return after the next series with the Dodgers. When we come back home, that's when he's going to make his appearance. Is at home against the Padres. Let me see.
We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out, Andre. But the bottom line is that when you put this guy, he's obviously Cy Young Award winner last year in the National League. He's put together 7-8 years now of consistent. He's got great stuff. He's the other great thing about him is he pitches. The reason why I want to see him pitch against the Dodgers, he's got great stats. I don't know if you have those stats, but great numbers against the Dodgers traditionally. So you put him in the rotation with Logan Webb, Kyle Harrison, and Jordan Hicks, who they're calling the next Tim Lincecum now. I know it's one preseason
game,
start,
but he looked really good.
Oh my God, we got to talk about him today a little bit.
Jordan Hicks looked phenomenal against the Oakland A's, but I mean, granted, it was still preseason, but it was something else to that. He was just dominant. They were overpowered. His breaking pitches were amazing. His slider was really good. His changeup was devastating compared to his fastball, which can range anywhere from 94 to 101 miles an hour. This guy is really, really good. Now, he hasn't been a starter at the major league level. And that's the one reason why he came here is because he knew that they were going to make him a starter. So I've heard a lot of talk about, when we get Robbie Ray back and Alex Cobb and all these guys, maybe he'll be our setup man. I don't think so. I think he's going to stay in the rotation because that's what the agreement was. The only way he's not is if he's struggling throughout the year. Then you can say, okay, dude, we gave you a shot. You've been struggling. Let's go back to your bread and butter.
Well, he did struggle. He did struggle at times with.
What's up, Felix?
Good morning, Felix. He did struggle at times with Toronto, with St. Louis and Toronto. And there's the old saying in professional sports, right? If there's a reason why he's been on multiple teams, there's a reason why he's been on multiple teams. There's why didn't Toronto hold on to him? Why didn't St. Louis give him a chance?
Exactly.
But so there's probably, I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll see something that kind of, perplexes us and what the hell's going on with this guy? But I'm telling you, from what I've seen, and I was down in Scottsdale also, and I saw him pitch a few weeks ago, St. Patty's Day weekend. This guy has electric stuff. I mean, electric. Not only does he have the fastball, he's got the two-seamer, he's got a sinker. He is nasty. And he was making, major league hitters. Most of the guys in that Oakland lineup on Monday were, they're going to be on the roster.
Yeah, pretty much.
They were flailing at these pitches. They had no chance. So I'm looking forward to seeing him pitch on Saturday in San Diego. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think he's due for a big year. As long as he can sustain that kind of ability. This could be a pitcher that starts off hot and then has a rough patch, midway through. But we'll see how it goes with Jordan Hicks. But he definitely has the potential to be one of the top flight starters of the San Francisco Giants pitching rotation. And I agree. Look, when you have Blake Snell and Logan Webb on that pitching rotation, the Cy Young Award winner and the runner-up as well, that's huge. But it was the move they had to make in order to compete in this National League West, which is probably the hardest division to play in right now because you got the Dodgers who are stacked. You have the Diamondbacks who went to the World Series last year, and they even made a move where they acquired Jordan Montgomery. Now, Montgomery's a really good pitcher, but he had a really good postseason. And so I think that, is he going to be dominant? No, I think he's more of a guy who's going to be more consistent throughout the year, but we'll see how that goes. I actually thought the Giants might go after him as well and just say, here, I'll give you 1 year, $25 million, kind of what the Diamondbacks did. And imagine if they would have signed him as well. My God. But I love that the Giants seem to have gone back to what made them special, what gave them championships, which is pitching and defense, because you got, Matt Chapman, who's a defensive guru over at third base. First base is going to be a platoon of Lamont Wade and Wilmer Flores, I love Wilmer Flores.
The Friends song when he comes up every time, Wilmer Flores.
I know. Why does he play that? I don't get that.
Because the story is, just real quick, when he came to the United States, when he first was at the Mets, he watched Friends every day. And that's how he learned English.
I've heard that story before too.
So anyways, he's the best English-speaking Latin player on the Giants.
Is that what it is?
For those of you that care. Yeah, it's true. Huh.
Well, we got an update. We got an update right here. Let's go to that right. Well, what's that?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Here we go. We have the starting lineups for the Giants game today against the Padres. It's a little bit different than I thought it was going to be, but it looks like the lineup is going to be Jung-Hoo Lee, Soler batting second, which I don't know. That's kind of weird. I don't get that one. Lamont Wade Jr. So here's my problem with this. I don't know if this is official or not, even though it's on the Giants website, but I saw RotoChamp put out a projected starting lineup, and this was the same lineup. So they might have just copied that because I don't see Jorge Soler as a number 2 hitter. I see him more as a 4 hitter. But what do you think of the lineup now that we have Lee, Soler, and Chapman in the lineup?
Well, I mean, this lineup is obviously going to be a lot deeper now because of Matt Chapman. He bringing him into the lineup really changes everything, and that's why I was so surprised when they signed him. I do want to mention that Nick Ahmed, he had a great spring.
He did. People, he batted well over 300 in the spring.
And Marco Luciano was absolute shit. I mean, the guy, he's just so inconsistent. And
I know.
He had a couple of home runs towards the end of spring, but he really he couldn't lay off the slider on the outside corner. He was off balance on against really good major league pitching. So the fact that they have a solid veteran Gold Glove shortstop over there that can hit and that has been through the grind many times, I think that's really great to have him at the bottom of the lineup. And the other piece of this is Patrick Bailey. We didn't really see Patrick Bailey much during the spring because he had some knickknacks and injuries. But apparently he has really bulked up over the offseason. He lost a lot of weight at the end of the season because of the catching responsibilities that come with, especially being a rookie. And I don't think he was taking care of his body the way he needed to. So he ran out of gas at the end of the year. But apparently he's really solid. I don't think you're going to see Soler hitting second. I think this might just be a projection.
Yeah, this is a projection.
And definitely. I don't even know if Yastrzemski is going to be in the lineup today. We'll see.
This is a projection because it's the same one I saw last night. So that's my bad. It was on their website, so I thought for sure this was going to be true. But we have another update. Let's go to that too. So they just posted this about a minute ago on the Giants Twitter account. This is the roster, the 26-man roster for the Giants, and a big surprise on here is Joey Bart. They're going to be carrying 3 catchers.
I like it.
He played really well in the spring, and I think letting him go, you're like, dude, this guy has potential. Let's just keep him around. But Tom Murphy was smashing the ball in spring training, and he had 2 home runs against the A's just the other night. So, look, when you have a DH, I think this is possible. And not to mention, Soler is he's a right-handed bat, and so is Joey Bart. But on days where Soler is in the lineup defensively, you can have Joey Bart DHing. Since you don't have that big fat inflated contract of Jock Peterson hanging around anymore, he's gone, and so that gives a little bit of room for these guys. What's up, Sean? Good to see you, buddy.
Andre, I think this is a great move by the Giants, and here's why. In the past, this 26th, 26 or 20. How long have they had 26, man? Has it been 2 years now? I don't know. I thought
it used to be a 25-man roster. Now it's 26.
Okay, so we've got this 26 spot. And in the past, the Giants have had guys like really, I would say, dink and dunk kind of utility guys as their 26 man. Well, why not have Joey Bart, a guy that can hit the ball in the ballpark? He had a great spring, looked really good at the plate. And the other thing about Joey Bart, and he doesn't have any options left. So, they couldn't option him down to AAA. I don't know if the Giants fans knew this. They may have or may not have, but they were either going to have to put him on waivers, they were going to have to trade him, or, he was going to be on the big league roster. And I don't think they had enough time to make that kind of a decision, right after spring training, after the club broke camp. And what this does is it gives them a chance to maybe 2 weeks, maybe even less than 2 weeks to kind of think about what they want to do. And he does not have to catch. He can definitely DH, like you mentioned. Yeah. And, who the hell knows? Maybe he's learning how to play first base. I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, too. If they were able to get him to play first base, that would be huge. Because now you have another young prospect who has potential to be really, really good as your first baseman. But again, you have Wilmer Flores. And, when it comes to Lamont Wade, he can easily play the outfield. But already in the outfield, you have Jung Ho Lee, you have Michael Conforto, Austin Slater, Soler, and Yastrzemski. I don't think they really want to part ways with Slater because he's a good rotational piece, and same with Yastrzemski as well. Unless those guys tank this year, then but I still think that you're going to see Lamont Wade in the outfield sometime this year, definitely. But if you notice, there's something else in there too. If you notice it, infielder wise, Marco Luciano did not make the team.
And I was fully expecting that.
Yeah. So they went with Nick Ahmed as the shortstop. Yeah.
And in fact, I saw that last night. That was already posted last night, that Luciano and Blake Sable, who's not on this list, they were both optioned down to Sacramento.
And I think when it comes to Blake Sable, he has options available while Joey Bart doesn't. And I think that's why they chose to option him to AAA. Not to mention he was hurt early on in spring. But Blake Sable's a good player. I love Blake Sable. But I think you have to give a guy like Joey Bart a chance to do something. Because if basically all they were going to end up doing was letting him go. And somebody else was going to pick him up. So might as well hang on to him and see what you can get out of it.
The other, that's a great point, because, they have a chance now to see if, even if it's in a pinch hitting role, or maybe it's just, give Soler a day. I don't know if you need to give a DH a day off, but, just to get him in the lineup, or, figure out a way to get him in on the field somewhere. But the other guy that I want to talk about is Tyler Fitzgerald. Tyler Fitzgerald, I don't know if you got a chance to see him over the course of spring, but this is a guy that brings a different dimension to the Giants. He brings a level of speed. He's if he's able to get on base, or even if you need a pinch runner late in a game, the guy, he can steal a bag. He can, go first to third, and he's a really great infielder that can play shortstop and second base. So what this team, for me, I don't know about you, Dre, but this is probably one of the best opening day rosters that we've had in the Farhan Zaidi era. This team looks really balanced. What I like also is the bullpen. This bullpen, they've been together now for a year. The Rogers twins, Walker is a great setup man, and then obviously Duvall is lights out. He's just going to continue to get better and better. And Luke Jackson is another guy that last year was coming off a Tommy John surgery, but didn't really join the team until May. Now you've got him with the team, breaking camp, and they have a really cohesive unit. So this is a pretty exciting ball club.
I think so. And then I also like the reliever Ryan Walker. I like what he did last year, and doing that. And I hope they get away from it, doing the whole the opener setup. I hope they get away from that. That was just so stupid. I never liked it.
Gabe Kapler, dude, what an idiot.
But Ryan Walker was good in that role. And for the most part, as an opener, you're going against the starting lineup. I mean, that's a high pressure situation starting off the game. So, and he did really well, in that role. But I want them to get away from the opener. That was stupid. It was weird. It's not baseball. That's just like you're playing trigonometry on baseball. It's just stupid. I don't like it.
Well, I really don't like it. And the good news, Bay Area Giants fans, Bob Melvin doesn't like it either. Bob Melvin, he's come out and he has been very clear to the fan base, to the press, and also, the fact that they have a veteran coaching staff now, that they have people that like Matt Williams and Brian Price, the pitching coach, who has, I don't know if people know how amazing Brian Price is when it comes to kind of old school mentality. He was a manager with Cincinnati, but he's also been a pitching coach for a number of years, and they don't believe in the philosophy of an opener. What did the opener do last year to our team? It decimated our bullpen. Absolutely decimated it.
It's such a bad idea. I did not agree with it. I don't know why Kapler. You know what? It's the reason why Kapler's not here anymore.
There you go.
But that was also Farhan as well. He was allowing that to happen, and for that matter, he probably even promoted it. Like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try it out.
I mean, just look at the difference, Andre. Last year, our starting rotation was Logan Webb, Alex Wood, Ross Stripling, Alex Cobb, and a big freaking question mark.
Yeah, exactly. That's why getting Blake Snell was so important. I mean, yes, he won't be here for the first 2 series, but once he gets on the rotation, now you have 2 aces on this rotation, including Jordan Hicks. And imagine by mid-season, you could have Robbie Ray and Alex Cobb in this rotation along with Kyle Harrison. That's huge.
Can we talk about Kyle Harrison for a minute? I cannot tell you. I was able to see Kyle Harrison pitch also down in Scottsdale.
Uh-huh.
I cannot tell you how amazing he looks. He is just, and I know that it's going to be again, the adrenaline and, everything that comes with, especially tomorrow night, it's going to be, a big stage for him, being that kind of second in line in San Diego. It's going to be a packed house, but I'm telling you, he is absolutely electric. And if he can learn how to really control that fastball and just be more of a, pound that strike zone, as a lot of pitching coaches will tell you, this rotation is going to be so incredible this year, as long as, barring injury, that this team is going to win 85 to 90 games. And I mean, you can mark me down on that. If this rotation stays healthy and, we don't have, like I said, these blaring injuries where people are, out for months upon time, this team is going to win 85 to 90 games because they have everything that you need. They have the righty lefty matchups. They have the combinations. And like you said, you just made the point. Coming into a series, if we can line up, Logan Webb, Blake Snell, and Kyle Harrison, or Logan Webb, Blake Snell, and Jordan Hicks, whew.
That's good, man. And like when we talked about Marco Luciano not making the team, I mean, when you look at his spring, he had 44 at bats, and he batted .227 with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs and 2 stolen bases. I think the main thing you look at is his batting average and his plate discipline. He swings out a lot of pitches. He strikes out a lot. And that's not a guy that you want up there when you have runners on. He's just going to flail, and he needs to become more disciplined. He's only 22 years old, so he still has more time to develop down in the minor leagues. And if you look at what they did, and this is something that I talked about last night, they signed these guys, right? They signed Blake Snell, Chapman, Soler. And now Soler's on a 3-year deal, but Chapman's on, I think it's a 4-year deal, but with options every single year. So he might leave whenever, right?
It's a 3-year deal.
3-year deal. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But what I like about that is that, let's say he leaves after next year, or after this year, or he leaves after next year. Then what do? You have Casey Schmidt could take his spot. Now that gives Casey Schmidt more time to develop in the minor leagues as opposed to rushing him out there this year. They saw what he's capable of last year, but they also saw that towards the end of the year, he started to fall off. So he still needs time to really develop his game, but I think he can be a really exciting player. And on top of that, you have guys like, Keaton Wynn and Kyle Harrison and Kristen Beck, who I think he's out right now. Tristan Beck.
He's out with an aneurysm in his arm, but he's scheduled to be back at some point this year.
We have Wisenhunt as well. That's in the minor league. So this gives them more time to develop, and they're not overcommitting to these guys, and they played their cards right. And really, forehand, somehow, I don't even know if it was intentional or not, but somehow he managed to dodge 2 big fucking bullets these past few years. He dodged Carlos Correa with his degenerative ankle injury, which was like, holy shit, and they got out of that one. And then he also dodged the whole Ohtani scandal, which, let's get your take on that, because I know you got to run in just a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Ohtani, in my opinion, he should not be playing right now. He should be suspended pending investigation. But the fact that he's out there, I feel like this man is compromised. You don't know what he's doing right now, or he's even making bets.
It doesn't add up, right?
None of his story adds up.
The whole story doesn't add up.
You can't tell one story and then say, oh, no, he fucking lied. None of that's true. It's like, wait, hold on. What? What's going on?
Here's the biggest issue for me is that, this guy Ipe, Mr. Ipe,
Ipe Mazuhara.
Okay, thank you.
Matsuhara, whatever. Ipe.
You got the great pronunciation there. I think that, if you're like you and I have been friends for a long time. If you're friends with somebody, like apparently best friends with somebody, like how do you like steal for, because okay, allegedly he's saying that the money was stolen from him. Like the money was stolen from him. But the other part of it is that Ipe had all of his bank account information. He had his account number, he had his routing number, and you're not going to sit here and tell me that if you're best friends with someone, that this guy is just going to steal $4.5 million from you without you knowing, without you having any idea, without you getting an alert on your phone that says, "Ooh," because it was like what was it, 5 or no, it was 8. It was 8 payments. It was 8 withdrawals of $500,000.
Yeah,
you're telling me that that 8 wire transfers are not going to be like, they're not going to call Shohei, or they're not going to give him like some sort of a notification, dude. He absolutely. There you go, Felix.
the Pete Rose 2.0.
He should be banned from baseball. But because of the hoopla that comes with this guy, and because he's on the Dodgers, he's probably, at least they're probably trying to like brush it under the rug for now. But the great news for us is that this is going to be a distraction for the Dodgers all year long.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially right now. I mean, I'm sure the media is all over them about, and you've seen different interviews from Freddie Freeman, from Dave Roberts. All these guys are going to ask questions about Ohtani. They're like, oh, fuck. But I mean, look, they're on the Dodgers. I mean, they kind of expect that kind of media coverage. But I think the main thing for me is that you can't send Ippei Masahara to ESPN for a 90-minute interview and then go, wait, what did he say? No, that was a vetted story. And to me, that is a story that I suspect that him and Shohei Ohtani came up with a while back. It's like, hey, if we ever get caught, this is going to be our alibi. Yeah, okay, yeah. And they probably figure, too, because he's going through Boyer, who's running an illegal booking scheme, that they would never get caught because this is all going to be under the table. But then he got busted under federal investigation, and now they're fucked because they were going through a guy that was not legal. And the reason why is because they didn't want anyone to know that Shohei's making bets. Yeah. And then his teammates are like, oh, he doesn't even watch sports. It doesn't matter. I can already, even if you watch sports or he doesn't watch sports, Ippei's probably telling him, hey, so let's bet on this, and this. How do you feel about that? Yeah, okay, let's do it. And it's just something that he does on the side. Not to mention how many bets were being made while he was in Korea, while he was playing in Japan. We don't even know that yet. And what is the extent of MLB's investigation? I have no confidence that Rob Manfred is going to put together a cohesive investigation because he wants that guy on the field. He wants that guy representing Major League Baseball because he makes them money. And that is what worries me about their investigation, because you can't have Disney investigating Mickey Mouse because they're going to back him up regardless.
He's gonna be on the field today at 1:05.
He is. He should not be allowed to be on the field.
It's their third game. Yeah, he should not. And I think you make a great point. Rob Manfred has shown his colors, along with Bud Selig, really, over the years, that money obviously talks in Major League Baseball. That Major League Baseball is not, let's be honest, Major League Baseball is not as popular as the NFL. It's not as popular, it may not even be as popular as the NBA when it comes to the world. Now Shohei comes along and he has created this world phenomenon that, has brought the game obviously even more popular and it's always been popular in Japan, but now it's kind of over the top because of just, the guy is an incredible player. They have Yamamoto now. And, even the Giants, we've got Jung-Hoo Lee, we've got Korean players, we've got Japanese players. But the truth is he should be suspended, or he should not be able to play right now while this is happening, or there needs to be a better explanation of what happened, because that press conference the other day, that was complete bullshit. That was not, they did not answer any questions, okay, number one. And they didn't even address any of the main kind of concerns that most of the fan base or that any logical person would have, which is, why the hell did you not get notified when that money was withdrawn? Like, yeah. I don't understand. If I
buy a candy bar, it notifies me that I bought a candy bar. You know what I mean? Like, oh, a transaction at the liquor store. Like, oh, what? You can't tell me he didn't know that. Why? was it notifying him in English? He's like, I can't read that. You could read fucking numbers, dude. Like, hey, that's a $500,000, and the bank would have notified him like, hey, you just had to withdraw $500,000. Are you aware of that? I know you're making millions of dollars, but we still have to let you know when a large amount of money gets ripped out of your account. These guys are full of shit. Shohei is full of shit, and he knows it. They did that press conference the other day. I'm sorry. The motherfucker is talking in Japanese.
I know.
I don't speak Japanese. I can't read his inflections. I can't read how he's presenting his words. It's just Japanese words flying at me with a dude who looks like he's maybe a quarter Japanese talking for him, saying like, he says that blah 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 blah. And what did you think he was gonna say? Hey guys, I fucked up. It was me. No, of course not. He was just like, oh, I don't know.
And he waited like 4 days, like what was it, 5 or 6 days, like after, he didn't talk to the press on last Thursday, after the second game in Korea.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't.
He wouldn't. So and then everybody's waiting. And then he doesn't speak to the press again until what? Monday? So, it's like 4 or 5 days go by so that they were able to strategize and come up with their story that they were going to give so that everything was right. And it's like, no, it doesn't add up. Nobody believes you. And the great thing about this, again, it's not only is it going to be a distraction, but I feel like, there could be some federal charges or something down the road. We'll see.
Absolutely. There should be. But I firmly believe while this investigation is underway, he should not be able to suit up for the Los Angeles Dodgers, because let's just say it comes out that it is true that he's betting on sports, let alone betting on baseball. The suspicion is that this man is compromised. Yet Rob Manfred is letting him play because he wants, I'm sure he's dreaming like, oh, but we just got to have that opening day at Dodger Stadium with Ohtani. We got to have that. No, what you should be doing is suspending him indefinitely and making an example out of him, guilty or not guilty, until you find out the exact answer of, is this guy dirty or is he not?
I totally agree with you. I think that, this is going to be an ongoing investigation, and yeah, Daniel's right. Like he should definitely be suspended. But again, we've seen this before. We've seen this bias that comes, for these guys. If this was Barry Bonds, I mean, we can go back to Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds. I mean, Barry Bonds was treated like absolute like garbage.
They would have busted down the door and handcuffed him in front of all the fans. They would have handcuffed him in left field.
And it's just, and maybe there is a level of race that comes into it. Like,
I don't know, but I can guarantee you Rob Manfred would be leading the charge. Like, there he is, officers, get him. If it was Barry Bonds, like,
they would just be chasing him. Yeah. And like,
thanks, Ryan. He's like, well said, I'm a Dodger hater. And that's the thing too, is that like, can you imagine if Shohei would have said, you know what, I'm going to sign with the Giants. And then this happened. Oh my God, this would be, can you imagine?
Another bullet that we dodged, if you think about it. I mean, I was actually not, I was in the camp, no Shohei. I was in the camp.
I was all for him. I was like, dude, I want him. But the problem is that even if they would have signed him, that's all they would have done. They would have signed him and he'd be the next Barry Bonds. Great player surrounded by a bunch of mediocre players and prospects. And
think about what we were able to do. Think about what we were able to do with, and again, the Dodgers did that stupid deferred contract, which is ridiculous. But like, I'm also happy that we didn't sign Yamamoto. I think that was another.
Yeah, that was
huge.
Well, but I mean, I shouldn't say we wouldn't get anybody else, because the contract that Shohei wanted to sign is a very team friendly contract. They would have been able to add every single player they added this year, plus Shohei. And we would have been a dynamite team. I mean, we still are going to be a very competitive team. But Yamamoto wanted that money, that fat money.
He wanted it solid. And if you saw Yamamoto over the spring, and if you saw him pitch on Thursday last week, I mean, he must be tipping his pitches or something, because he was just, it was like batting practice. He was getting
lit up in Korea. I watched the highlights of that. I was like, he's not fooling anybody right now. They're just like, bah, bah, bah. His fastball was like right over the plate. Like, whoosh.
These hitters, I mean, not only in Major League Baseball right now do we have a complete flux of these guys that throw 98 plus miles an hour, but we also have some of the best hitters in the world, especially when it comes to hitting a fastball.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care how hard you throw, I mean, freaking Mike Yastrzemski can hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's Mike
They
Yastrzemski.
all can. They can all hit. Even Nick Ahmed could probably hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
It's crazy.
Daniel has a good point here. Look at what they did to Trevor Bauer. He was suspended for 2 years without pay for getting crazy with some wild chick. You know what I mean? And they made an example out of him. They were like, fuck Trevor Bauer. And not only that, but then his name got dragged through the mud. They ran specials on Trevor Bauer. They were like, oh, he was a kid who got picked on, was always told he was too small. And then they painted him like he was just this angry child inside that wanted to fucking beat up every girl. And, he got fucking chastised for it. He's still not even in the league.
That girl did him wrong, I think, dude. And I don't want to get like controversial on this because I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I don't know the details of it, but what I'm saying is that
yeah.
I saw what happened to Trevor Bauer. Guilty or not, they dove right in.
He did not pitch another game after those allegations came out. So why? So it's a great point that was just made by our viewer. Why is Shohei playing right now?
Why is he playing? And I want to say he's playing because they had too much invested. Major League Baseball has too much invested in opening day with Shohei Ohtani at Dodger Stadium. And that's fucking bullshit. This guy should be this guy shouldn't even be allowed in the park. And yet he's in the lineup.
But I'm telling you, Dre and Daniel, it's a great day to be a Giants fan because, like I said, we've got a great team that I feel like is, they may not win the World Series. They may not even get to the playoffs. Who knows? But this team, I'm telling you, they are going to be really competitive, and we don't have any controversies on this team.
No.
We don't
look
have
at
any
Jung Ho Lee.
controversies.
Jung Ho Lee, he looks like a saint. You look over at him like, hey, this guy, he has no problems. Now, granted, he came from the KBO, and there's some talk that the KBO is equivalent to a high A or in between AAA and AA. So I think he has room to improve. This spring, he did bat fairly well in the spring, and I think as long as he can play good defense and, keep a relatively, a high batting average at the leadoff spot, we'll be fine. But one thing we talked about, too, when it comes to the Giants is that, they have a team with a lot of hitters that don't hit for a high average. Yeah. Soler, Chapman, Conforto. A lot of these guys, they're not big average hitters. Even Lamont Wade, Thairo Estrada, they all hit for power, but they don't really hit for a high average. So I think in order to balance that out, that's why, another reason why they went out and got Blake Snell, because they were like, dude, if we can bolster up our pitching lineup, then it allows your hitters who are not high average hitters to relax and be able to, take pitches and work counts and get the pitch they want to get because their pitching staff is holding them down. And so I think, again, we go back to pitching and defense, and I think that this team has much more power than it ever has before. You're looking at Chapman, Soler. We know that Lamont Wade can take a deep. Wilmer Flores, Conforto. These are all guys that swing with power. And I think that, and even Thairo Estrada, he had 14 home runs the past 2 years. So I think this is definitely going to be a team that can hit the ball out of the park on a consistent basis. And you have a bunch of guys in the minor leagues that are still coming up. Like you have Elliot Ramos, you have Casey Schmidt, you have Marco Luciano, who can hopefully turn it around down there. So you do have a lot of guys that are down there that are ready to come up if need be, when these guys, start to struggle or, face any kind of injury as well.
Well, I would like to also say that the fact that we have these guys down in the minor leagues is huge, because if we are really contending this year and we're in it at the trade deadline, maybe we say, you know what, Luciano, Wisenhunt, you put together a package and you go out and you get somebody. You go out and get somebody. You get a star. You go get, maybe it's another piece to the rotation, or maybe it's somebody that you can plug into the lineup at first base. I really, maybe you throw Lamont Wade Jr. into a trade if they want an everyday player, because the one thing that we haven't had over the last several years is we haven't had that package that teams wanted. Where we can really put together something like the New York Mets have had, or like the Yankees have had. And we don't. I don't understand why the Giants need to play kind of like have their organization play like a small market team. We don't have to do that. This team is, the revenue that they are creating, with merchandise. They've got the Mission Rock, thing going on in San Francisco. They're charging an arm and a leg to get into the stadium. They're charging you $19 for a beer in there.
I mean, they own their own stadium.
They own their own stadium. This is not a small market team. And there's no reason why what happened the last 2-3 years was a tragedy. Even though they won 107 games in 2021. That was an anomaly. To me, that was an anomaly. That was not the norm. They have been running this organization like a small market team the last 4 years. And there is no reason why they need to do that. The last 2 months, Andre, they are not running this team like a small market team anymore. They have gone out and they have been aggressive. And there is no reason why they shouldn't be aggressive at the trade deadline also now, because they have top level prospects.
Right.
And they may not need Carson Whisenhunt and Mark and Luciano. They may not need them.
No.
Like they can use them as chips, and they can go out and, possibly win a World Series this year.
I think that, when you look at the lineup, obviously, I think the right field position could be upgraded as well. But the shortstop position and right field are the two biggest holes that they can upgrade pretty significantly. Probably easier to upgrade over in right field because, there's a lot more outfielders out there. Outfielders are like receivers. There's always one out there, But but first base is another one. But I think I'm good with Wilmer Flores, especially if they can convert Joey Bart to first base. I don't know if that's even been talked about, but I know we talked about it, and I think it'd be a really good idea. But Tyro Estrada, he's good at second base as long as he doesn't get hurt. He gets hurt every year. But Nick Ahmed at shortstop, I think that is a good stopgap for now. But you got to come up with a long-term solution at shortstop. Yeah. I don't know if Nick Ahmed can carry the team or carry that position for the entire year.
Luciano may be up. I mean, Dre, Luciano, it might be one of those situations where. And I've seen this happen with guys before. It happened with Buster Posey. But it to a certain level. Right. Buster Posey, he came up at the end of 2009, and he whatever, did his thing, and then they started him. They had him start in the minor leagues in 2010, and then remember they're like, Benji Molina's too fat, and he can't do this. He can't even freaking walk. So they're like, Benji. Okay, we're going to trade Benji Molina and we're going to bring up Buster Posey. And they bring up Buster Posey and everything turns to gold.
Yeah. And that was before they had the DH. If they had the DH, then I would bet that Molina or Posey would have been a DH at that time. But if we had it, but we didn't.
So I am not sitting here saying that Luciano is a bust. I'm not saying that he's not going to come up and contribute.
He's only 22 years old,
But I also like the idea of having him as a chip. And
definitely.
This is something that we can discuss maybe later in the year towards the trade deadline, which is, if this team is really going to compete with Atlanta, the Dodgers, especially in the National League, and then in the American League, there's some real powerhouse teams. I mean, I know we don't have to face them, but, Texas, Baltimore, there's some, even Houston is still a power. And then you've got, in the AL East, you've got Tampa Bay, Toronto, the Yankees, Reds. I mean, there's some amazing. And then in the NL East, you've got Philadelphia, and you've got the Mets that are always kind of hanging around, and then the Cardinals and Cubs.
Yep.
If the Giants want to take themselves to another level, they may have an opportunity this year, because you're not going to sit here and tell me that teams aren't looking at Luciano. Luciano hit a ball off the scoreboard the other day in Scottsdale. He hit the ball 480 feet.
He's a big guy, he's got the
physique.
Uh-oh.
No, that's just brunch. I got 15 minutes.
I was like, that's the warning right there.
But we're coming close, yeah.
We're coming close.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go to this. We have another update here. Let's go to, what is this? So the lineup is in. It's over here off to the left side.
Nice.
So it was right. So It is Jung-Ho Lee, Soler, Lamont Wade batting third, Chapman, Yastrzemski, Estrada, Conforto, Bailey, and then Nick Ahmed hitting in the 9 hole. And that is your starting lineup for the San Francisco Giants. I'm a little surprised by the lineup. I really thought that Soler would be more of a number 4 hitter with Chapman number 3 and Estrada at number 2. But we'll see how this kind of plays out. I think they're doing Soler second because they want him to get more fastballs, and I think that if he's in the 3 or 4 slot and he hasn't hit a home run all spring, they feel that at the number 2 hole, especially if he gets a runner, if Jung Ho Lee gets on ahead of him, then teams are forced to attack the strike zone, and then he could take advantage of that. Lamont Wade batting third. I don't know. I know he's a really good fastball hitter as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Matt Chapman scares the pitchers into throwing him fastballs. You know what I mean? Like if Soler was there, I'd be like, okay, I don't want to face him. I'm going to go after Lamont Wade. But with Chapman, but still, it gives them that option. And that's why getting Soler and Chapman was so huge. I really wish that they would have gotten. I'm happy with the guys they got, but I wish they would have also have added Cody Bellinger. That would have made this lineup super dynamic. Oh my God. Because then you would have had, instead of Yastrzemski, you would have had Cody Bellinger right there. Like, holy shit. But still, I think they made some good moves. But again, Yastrzemski, Conforto, those guys are stopgaps. Like, you got to have options for those 2 positions. Because, I mean, like, the lineup kind of, it really sinks down when you get to right field, left field, and shortstop.
Well, let's see what kind of year Conforto has. I mean, it's a big year for him also because he opted in after his 1 year. I think Soler hitting second is probably indicative of the fact that he did not hit a home run over the course of the spring. And
absolutely,
and maybe Bob Melvin's trying to get him some, he did get on base though quite a bit. He did get on base. He was able to get on base with walks. He's a very patient hitter. Today on the mound for the Padres is Yu Darvish, and the thing about Yu Darvish is he throws a lot of fastballs. So I think, Bob Mel, he really does. And Bob, obviously has a lot of movement on his fastball.
Yeah.
But he loves to pound the zone. He has that kind of cutter that goes from the outside corner coming in on right-handed hitters. And for lefties, I think that fits right into Lamont Wade Jr., right into his wheelhouse. And for Chapman, this guy's a solid hitter. And I have no problem with him hitting fourth. I think, he's a guy that you can count on to have a great at bat when he gets up there. He's got a good eye at the plate. I kind of like the balance of the lineup. I like Bailey down 8th. Whatever. I'm mad. I don't care. And I
think Bailey can make his way up the lineup, but he has to kind of show that he can consistently do that. But I think he can. I think he has the ability to be a high, somewhat of a high average hitter, because he came up clutch last year in a lot of at bats.
Oh.
And Jorge Soler in the spring, he batted .293, no home runs, but he had 6 RBIs. So his batting average was way up in the spring than where he normally is at. So I think that's a good sign, and I think that's why they said, hey, we'll plug him in at 2. He's been hitting the ball really, really well this spring. Not really for power, but maybe he could still keep that going at the number 2 spot, and then also turn on one if they leave it over the plate. So
I also like the idea. I mean, Jung Hoo Lee is a lefty, so there's a righty. Wade a lefty. Chapman's a righty. Yastrzemski's a lefty. Estrada's a righty. He basically, kind of like mismatched. Went back and forth
righty,
with his
lefty,
righties
righty,
and
lefty, right. Yeah, I like that.
I like the lineup. I don't love Mike Yastrzemski, and I think the first thing that comes to my mind is Juan Soto. I want Juan Soto, dude.
Juan Soto, I wish we could have had Juan Soto.
Soto has a one year contract with the Yankees, and maybe we get Juan Soto next year. Who the hell knows?
Maybe. But you look at the San Diego lineup, you got Xander Bogaerts, who actually batted .444 in the spring. Jesus Christ.
He looks good. He looked good in his first series, too.
He looked terrible last year, but, offseason can change that. Fernando Tatis Jr., he's batting .375 in 2 games. Actually, you know what? It's .444 for the 2 games that he played, I think.
Yeah.
Because he didn't
hit .444 this spring.
I was like, wow, I was killing it. Tatis Jr., Cronenworth, who's apparently having a resurgence. Manny Machado, who's Manny Machado. The other Kim.
Hassan Kim.
Jerkison Profar.
Campusano is a decent. He's okay.
Wade, and then what's this guy? Merrill.
I don't even know. I don't even know
who these guys are. Yeah. But But so this is the lineup that we're going to be going against. I imagine this lineup when they had Juan Soto in the lineup too, and they couldn't fucking win games. Like what? What's happening?
This team, the thing about this team is the Padres, they score a lot of runs. You know, they can score runs, but their bullpen is not what it was. Like they have like a young, I can't remember his name, but they have like a young like kid, like that's their closer right now. And
they lost a lot of bullpen pieces.
They have a lot of holes. They have a lot of holes in their pitching
Do
staff.
they still have their closer? Because they had Hader as their closer. I don't know if he's still there. No. He's gone.
Hader went to was it Atlanta? No, somewhere. I don't know. Hader's gone. Anyways, this team has a lot of holes, and so I'm not really worried about this team. The teams that I am, focused on this year as we kind of
like that view.
We kind of wrap up here because I got my students coming back in a few minutes. The teams that I'm worried about this year are obviously the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. The Rockies are just a nothing. And the thing about the Diamondbacks that scares me a little bit is that they still have that young. I mean, they're such a young, talented, speedy, energetic team with so much athleticism. And you add Jordan Montgomery to Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. They are a formidable team. I mean, I think that they are probably the favorite to win this division. And I know that everybody loves the Dodgers, but they are really good.
The thing about the Diamondbacks too is that what's his name? Carroll.
Yeah.
Corbin
Carroll.
He's outstanding, but I think a lot of players on that team kind of had the same kind of had that. What is it? The 2022 Giants phenomenon where they were all having career years. Now, are they going to be able to do that again? I don't know, but I know Corbin Carroll will probably have the same kind of numbers that he had last year because he's outstanding, and their pitching will keep them in games. But I don't know if everybody else is going to have the same year they had last year. All of these guys they had career years. It was incredible. It all came together. But can they do it again? We'll find out.
But they've got young players. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
They've got young guys that they have World Series experience. That's crazy. That is impressive. And I mean, just look at a guy like Alek Thomas, their center fielder. Mm-hmm. He is so dynamic. The Giants don't have anybody on their roster like him. A guy that not only, maybe Jung-Hoo Lee, but that's about the closest I could think of. So the bottom line, Andre, is I think that it really is a 3-team race in the division. But the Giants have as good of a chance as anybody. And the reason why is because of their pitching. One thing that I remember, just take this as I go. In 2010, remember Tim McCarver, the worst broadcast. He goes.
He's dead now too. You know that?
He's dead. Remember they called the 2010 Giants the Misfits?
Yeah.
And Tim McCarver in the World Series, like right when they're about to clinch, he goes, well, there ain't no misfits on their pitching staff. And it was because they had Tim Lincecum, they had a young Madison Bumgarner, they had Matt Cain, and they had Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah.
And they had the bullpen, they had the core 4. If this team can pitch, they will be competitive this year.
If they can pitch and stay healthy, yes. They can be in this race for almost the entire year because they have the pitching to back it up. And not only that, but they have the minor league system right now that can back up their starting roster. A guy goes down, here comes Elliot Ramos. Another guy goes down, here comes Marco Luciano. Here comes Casey Schmidt. Casey Schmidt can play third, short, second, and he could probably play first if you threw him there. He's naturally a third baseman, but he can play those other positions. So and unfortunately, yes, Pablo Sandoval did not make the team. I didn't think he was going to, but oh well. That was fun while it lasted, right?
Yeah. Well, it was great. It was really great joining you today, Andre. Unfortunately, I got to get going.
Okay, guys. So, hey, I want to thank Drew for coming out here and talking Giants baseball. We'll do it again like we always do. If you haven't done so yet, make sure that you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll be live. I'll be live doing Dre Area Sports at least once a week, if not more than that, now that I got my cool green screen going. So check out Giants baseball today at 1:10 p.m. over on, I think it's on NBC Sports. I think the Giants are going to win this game.
I do too. I think the Giants go in and win 3 out of 4. That's my prediction.
Yeah. If we had Blake Snell, oh my God. But in time, he will be here and be ready to go.
I think we put up 7+ runs today. That's my prediction.
Wow. There we go. 7+ runs. Breaking. All right, guys. We will catch you guys next time. Peace.